So I'm joined here by Allan Briggs here at the Derwent Valley Light Railway, and we're joined by something that's a little bit interesting, a little bit unique.
Yep.
It's a pump cart,
Yep,
which
right.
most people won't have seen outside of maybe cartoons or films.
Yeah.
So what can you tell me about this?
Well, this is an original Derwent Valley Light Railway pump trolley, which was discarded many years ago by the permanent way gang in the hedge at the side of the track. The permanent way gang are the people who look after the track.
Yeah.
So if they knew they had a sleeper or a few sleepers to replace, you know, a mile, half a mile, 2 miles down the track,
Yeah.
they'd put them on. They'd put all the tools, so they'd stand the tools down there so that they wouldn't move in that.
Yeah.
And then they'd get on it, they'd trundle off down the track and replace the sleepers and then come back.
Okay.
And a guy called Brian Slater in 1970, when he was actually riding on the train along the line, noticed it in the hedgerow. A few days later he came back to find it and found that 3/4 of the woodwork had been burnt away.
Okay.
They used to burn the grass at the side of the line.
Yeah.
So 3/4 of the woodwork was unfortunately destroyed, but the majority of the metalwork still existed.
Yeah.
So he went to talk to a guy called John Acklam, who was the general manager of the DVLR at the time, and asked to buy it, and they agreed, I understand, £10.
Okay.
So in 1970, Brian Slater sent a letter to the DVLR via one of our members, Nick Beelby, offering what was left of the trolley to the society.
Okay.
So two more of our members, Dave Wild and Tony Simons, they went to look at it and said, yes please, we'll take it. But unfortunately the wheels had been left covered in, the bottom of the wheels had been left covered in soil
Yeah.
and they'd rotted away. So Tony Simons, being an engineer and teaching at York College, took the wheels to the college and got the apprentices to repair them.
Okay.
He also turned the axles to fit new bearings because one of the bearings apparently had collapsed,
Yeah.
and we believe that's why it was originally just thrown into the hedgerow.
Okay.
Now I joined the railway in 2016, and then at the Santa Specials that year, so in December, I was asked would I want to look at it and restore it.
Okay.
So I said yes, I'd do that. So in the following year we took all the bits to my house, and then over 3 months I restored it to what you see now.
Brilliant.
So all the woodwork is all brand new.
Yeah.
It's made out of ash, a nice hardwood. The metalwork was all sandblasted and then painted. So 90% of the metalwork is original.
Yeah.
There are a few bits that were missing. So like these stays here,
Yeah.
those are new. The pedal assembly that goes through here is new. And this one brake lever,
Okay.
they didn't exist when we were given it. But apart from that, the rest of and this rod as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But apart from that, everything else is original.
Wow. Brilliant. So in terms of the mechanism of this,
Yeah.
sort of simply, how does it actually work?
Well, basically you've got the handle that goes up and down, pushes the push rod onto a crank,
Oh, yeah.
onto the main crown wheel, and then that turns a smaller pinion wheel, which turns the axle,
Yeah.
which turns the wheels.
Okay. And then this here, that's just
And this
simply a
is the
brake.
brake, so you've got ash brake blocks, so when you press that down, it just pushes onto the wheels.
Oh, brilliant.
Now on our track, because we're more or less level, it's
Yeah.
adequate, but if you had a really steep
Cool.
incline, they might not be quite as good.
Yeah.
But they do work. We took it a few years ago, we took it onto North Yorkshire Moors Railway,
Okay.
and we went up the 1 in 49 to Ghostland and back down again, and they worked all right on that.
Yeah.
So
I imagine that took quite a bit of effort
yes,
getting up the bank there.
yes, it did, yeah. But the thing is, with this, depending which way you want to go, you've just got to start the wheels moving in the direction you want.
Oh, okay.
Then it will go in that direction.
Yeah. So here at the DVLR, does it get much use?
Well, over the last year, obviously not, but we've had a few times it out. 2019, we had our first Pump Trolley Experience Day.
Okay.
So basically we opened it up for members of the public,
Yeah.
and we charge £5 to go down to the end of the line and back.
Oh, okay.
And it was very well sought after.
Yeah.
I mean, we had people coming from quite a distance.
Yeah. No, I
Because
can
we
imagine.
advertised it, because it's not very often you get the chance to ride one of these.
No, I can't imagine there's a lot of railways in the UK at least that has
No,
something like
no.
this.
I mean, there will be one or two about,
Yeah.
but whether you can actually get on it and ride it is a different
Yeah,
matter.
of course. Super. Well, would we be all right having a look at this?
Yeah,
Getting on it and
you can have a ride. Yeah, you can have a play.
let's go for it.
Yeah,
Brilliant. Right, so got our high visors on.
yep, all ready to go.
Got the pump cart all ready. So are you going to get on first or?
Yep, I'll get on.
And then I'll jump up here.
Okay.
Right.
So when we want to set off, what we do is we get one of the wheels going in the right direction.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to use my foot. That gets us going.
Mhm.
And then if I push down, you pull up.
Okay.
And then you push down, and away we go.
Here we go. So once you get going, it's fairly easy. It's
yeah.
not a huge amount of strain on it, really, is there?
No, it's very easy, especially on the level.
Yeah.
Different matter if you're going up a hill.
Yeah. It's quite relaxing as well. Actually.
Yeah. You don't need to go to the gym if you've got a pump trolley. So some people might remember a pump trolley from the old St Trinian's film,
Yeah.
when all the schoolgirls are on. Oh, I think they have one in a Carry On film.
Yeah, you get them a lot in films, but
Yeah.
very rarely in real life.
No, that's it. So to slow it down, what we can do is go the opposite way. So as it's coming up towards you,
Okay.
if you press down on it,
Yeah.
you slow it down.
Okay.
So you don't really need to use the foot pedal if you don't want to do. And the key is, when you do stop, if you stop it with a handle level,
Yeah.
you're in a good position to set off
To
again.
get going.
We shouldn't need to use the foot. If I pull up on mine, you'll see we'll start moving backwards. Yes, if you can imagine two men on here with a couple of sleepers and all the tools, ready to change a couple of sleepers 2 or 3 miles down the track.
That's a lovely way to travel.
It is. And I believe that the original DVLR, they had two P-way gangs and 2 pump trolleys.
Okay.
So one gang looked after half the line, the other gang looked after the other half.
Coming into the station now. So
Again, if you want to slow us down, as it comes up, you just slow it down and it will. There we are. Did you enjoy that?
that was very good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.